So looking at our very first sample we're going to be doing is called a Tailors Tack. And what a Tailors Tack is, if you were making a garment and say on the pattern it has a little spot that's like a dot. I just pulled this out randomly. Let's just hope there's a dot on here. Oh, perfect. Okay, this looks like the robe pattern. Let's see these little round circles right here. They're representing different sizes. So let's just say I'm making a 5/6. I'm going to be cutting along this line here, but I need to mark that dot. And you can do it by using the marking pens that we were talking about, or chalk, or something like that. But there's certain fabrics that just doesn't work. Like a really fine chiffon, stuff like that. You can't mark with chalk. It will just poof right off the fabric. So we need to mark it in another way. Now, I know I just made you tie a knot and learn how to tie a knot, but we actually have to get rid of our knot. So I'm gonna take that knot off of there and get rid of it. I'm gonna pull both my ends of thread to be even at the end, just like that. So I have both of them sitting right down there. And then I'm gonna take one of my samples, make sure it looks kind of square. And I would like you to fold it in half and give it what's called just a finger press. So you're just gonna kind of run your fingers and nails down that like so. All right, and I'm also gonna get rid of this white that I was ironing on because you can't see. All right, so we're gonna do that. Now, that dot was very small. It was no more than like 1/4 inch. Oh, here's even a square. We can make it a square too. Like there's a square mark. They're very small. So I need to represent that, and I don't want it to be represented really big because typically that's like a point that you're gonna sew to, or you need to do something very accurately to it. So we want to put 2 Tailors Tacks on this fabric. So my first stitch, again, my threads are all nice and even down here. I'm going to, working always with the top of the fabric, and hand sewing, you don't flip back and forth. You work from the top and you work your needle kind of bending through the fabric. So I'm going to put the tip of the needle through. I'm going to bend it right back up. I want, again, a very small sew-to dot, not this big long thing. So that's like no more than maybe 1/4 inch. So in, out, and I'm going to pull until my threads no longer were the same length, so I'll have to straighten those as they come through. Remember, I want these to be the same length, so I'm going to cheat and take that one there. There we go. My needle. So, in, out. I'm going to come right back to where I had come in originally and go up. And I kind of go at an angle. I want to be on the right side of this thread, the tail, and the left over here. All right, let's get my threads even this time. Pull, and just go slow so nothing gets caught or ends up in a weirdness. And I'm gonna leave this loop. All right, my loop's about 1 inch. And I'm gonna take my scissors and cut this thread over here to about the same length as that tail. So all I've done is basically gone in my fabric, come back around, go in and out your fabric again, and you end up with a loop and 2 little tails. All right, that is a Tailors Tack. Again, typically you would be doing it right through the tissue, as in if this was sitting on here like this and it was that triangle that I was marking right there, I would just stitch right through that tissue, making the loop, and then I would pull my pattern and kind of pop a little hole through it. All right, so there's my little loop. Now, 2 pieces of fabric typically are going to be separated at some point, so we need to have it marked on this side and this side. So you're going to open up, you're going to pull this gently until this loop hits against the fabric, and you'll feel it like, oh yeah, it just got kind of stuck. Gently, pull gently. And then you cut right down the middle, boom. And now I have a mark on this side of my fabric and that side. All right, that is a Tailors Tack. What I want on your final piece of sample that you're gonna turn into me is 1 cut just like I did there. And then one down here uncut, so I can see that you see the process. So in, out, pull till you have about an inch of tail, inch and a half. Come slightly to the right, slightly to the left of it. Just go slightly, because if you went right back in the same hole, you literally stitch through the thread and you'll end up with a weird knot. Because again, it's just multi-layers of fibers wound together. All right, there's my loop. I'm going to take my scissors and cut here, and that's it. You just did a tailor's tack. Loop, one uncut, and this one over here is cut. And the last thing I'll need you to do is write on here, tailor's tack, print really nice, use a ballpoint pen, and then put your name. And I don't care if your name's at the top or the bottom, but you're gonna write on here, tailor's tack. I unfortunately walked away and don't have a pen handy. I don't have one, but you get the message. I'll do it over in the class, but write tailor's tack, put your last name up here or over here, and then you'll be turning that into me so I can see it. That's your tailor's tack.